she stopped and kind of felt around. She put freaked out totally. The mouse went somewhere under
We haven't seen it since.
Yeah.
You know.
Did you make something here? Did you bring?
And live.
No, but I was thinking that this might be just great.
He's like on the phone.
Hello.
He's right there.
Nice incentive.
We're a little late today.
Yeah.
We're waiting on Rusty.
It's 11.
No.
What's up, guys?
Okay.
This is Life That's Rigged the Leather. Welcome.
Hey.
So, we come across a lot of different exotic leathers.
We really do.
What, in your number of years, what's the weirdest thing that you ever come across as far as?
It's kind of a toss-up. I had a mouse hide once. That was
What?
Mouse hide.
Touche.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a legit tanned one, or like you tanned
No,
it?
this was a tanned mouse hide. Somebody,
Who would?
one
Why?
of my,
What?
a customer I had, and
Painful.
it's like, I forget if it was Michigan or Wisconsin.
We
someplace
didn't say that our customers weren't weird, too. So.
Yeah, they
That's what
sent
makes it so
me.
enjoyable to work with.
They sent me a tanned mouse hide.
Did it have a tail too?
No, not much. By the time you're done with a mouse, there.
Really? It seems to me like you'd really be able to put some time in.
Now, was it like a New York mouse?
Yeah.
Or like a Chicago mouse?
This-
Like, where did it
this-
come from?
this
This was like a Missouri mouse.
This skin was smaller than a business card.
That's a. Where is it?
Wow.
Where
Did you almost say that was adorable?
long gone.
I want a mouse
I
hide.
use it to great effectiveness because back in that day, I had an employee that was
Oh.
scared to death of mice. And
You did. That thing went in the trash.
at the end of the
didn't it?
day, we would count the money in the drawer, and it was her job to
Do we know this
to
person?
go back to the desk and sit there and do the daily report and all this other stuff, and she went back there and was doing this, and I walked up there and I said, "Judy, check out this mouse." Oh, word! She flipped out. She flipped out, and
Yeah.
she screamed, and she couldn't get out because her chair was stuck, under the desk, and she was just flailing around. Of course, I thought it was pretty funny. So anyway, I got the mouse back, and after a few minutes, I walked up there, and she was giving me the eye, and she had her jacket hung over the back of the chair. So I just slipped it into her because after she did the books, she was going to have to take the bank deposit over to the bank. And I knew she'd wear her coat, and she did.
Evil person.
And I went up to the front of the store, and she come out of the office, with the bank bag. She said, "I'll be back in a few minutes." I said, "Okay." I walked over to the window, and I was looking out.
Watched her run across the window.
No, she didn't. She was just walking about 10 feet into the parking lot. She puts both hands into her coat pockets, and I kind of felt around. She put freaked out totally. The mouse went somewhere under a.
We haven't seen it since.
Yeah, that's the last I had it.
That's pretty good.
But
Well, Kevin, let's get into the nitty gritty, I guess.
This is changing subjects, isn't it? I can tell.
All right. So what, as far as when you started a small business, what were some of the biggest challenges you faced then? And what are some of the biggest challenges we faced now and throughout the years?
Well, then, in all honesty, it wasn't too challenging. Money was a big challenge, but I was able to come up with that. And people. People have always been probably one of the biggest challenges to a business, whether it was back then or today, because it's hard to find good people. You have to hire X number of people to get one good one. And I don't know what the ratio is. Chris might know, but I think you hire 4 and you get one that you can keep.
yeah, it's a lot. I think there was one year where we were sitting in about 90 employees, and we went through about 90 employees in 1 year.
Yeah. It's just the way it is.
It can be tough. Like it can be really tough sometimes to find people that want to work that fit the culture.
Probably, it wasn't so much of a challenge for me because I always ran my Tandy store like it was mine. But a lot of people that find themselves in position of being a manager of a business, they don't run it like it was theirs.
Mm-hmm.
They just run it for the company, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it's totally different when it comes to starting and running your own business than it is managing a business.
Mm-hmm.
It's just totally different, and that became starkly apparent when Tandy closed its store system, and all these store managers thought they're just going to be really cool, and all of a sudden they have their own store. And they don't realize you have to have relationships with vendors.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have money, and all this and that and the other thing. And I had the relationship with those vendors, at least to some degree,
Mm-hmm.
not to the degree I do now, but we had it. We knew. I met Tandy had something they called a Tandy Fair one year in Las Vegas, and what they did was they charged a whole bunch of their primary vendors a bunch of money to come to this venue and meet all the store managers. And some of the vendors were pretty ticked off about that because they realized after the show that Tandy just charged them a bunch of money to meet a whole bunch of people that couldn't really buy anything.
Oh,
Because Tandy had to buy it.
yeah,
But see, I was special.
always.
I could buy stuff. I could buy stuff because I'd been with the company for kind of a long time, and I had this relationship and a reputation of being able to sell what I bought.
Mm-hmm.
So I would call up purchasing in the Tandy corporate office and address the person and say, hey, such and such a company has got this and that and the other thing. I'd like to buy 500 feet. Okay. It was
Yeah.
just that simple. And it went that way for years. So anyway, I met Cinema Leather. I met Kamali Leather.
Mm-hmm.
I met Milton Sokol. And these are Herman Oak. Oh my goodness. I met Tustin in Great Britain, the famous people that make kid skins. I can't remember their name. Tustin something or other. No, I didn't meet the Hyde House there, but I met the Barber Thread Company. There several American Thread Company. Just a whole bunch of people.
Yeah.
And so when Tandy closed, I just called those people. They were all beside themselves because they didn't know, wow, I mean, this company bought millions of feet of leather over the course of a year. What are we going to do? And all the stores are going. I said, well, you can sell some to me. And basically all I had to do was convince them that I had a viable business and was going to pay.
Right.
And that's what happened. So that made my life pretty easy. But for somebody else that's starting their own business, depending on the kind of business that they have, not having those vendor relationships is going to turn out to be one big headache for them, at least potentially.
Yeah.
And if they can resolve that, or maybe they don't need those vendor relationships. Maybe they can buy everything they need at Jack's hardware store and run their business. But that's the big thing.
I say even for you in that situation, you had kind of been in front of these people for at least a little while, so they were familiar with you to an extent.
Oh, they were familiar with me because I had bought things from them. I had to call Tandy to get permission to order from them, so they know. And Tandy wasn't going to have Cinema Leather ship leather to them and then they'd ship it to me.
Okay.
Tandy just called Steve and said, hey, ship this X amount of whatever Kevin's talking to you about and ship it directly to him.
Yeah.
So we got to know each other, and a lot of these people called me. Milton Sokol, back in the day, that guy had a warehouse full of printed scrap. Oh, I mean, he had a warehouse full of it. It was like a lot.
Sounds like
Like
a situation that we could be in with
boy.
some ostrich.
Yeah, he had a bunch, that's for sure. So I got to know Joe Sokol, and he got to know me and know that I could sell that stuff to the inmate customer base that we had. And wow, I was talking to him pretty regular and discovered that, hey, he had odd lot stuff and other things. And that, man, when Tandy was selling their oil tans for, now this was back a ways, but when they were selling it for $3 and $4 and $5 a square foot, I was able to sell it for $2 a square foot because I'd bought up half a pallet from Milton Sokol or someone else, and the price was much less because they needed to get rid of it, and Tandy couldn't deal with it.
Right.
What are they going to do with a half a pallet of something? They had 300 stores or whatever. And
Right.
didn't work. So anyway,
But it worked for Kevin.
That kind of